I just remember being so cold and running up to someone on the side at one point to ask them if they could put my AirPod back in the case because I couldn't do it myself and it was dead. And then the second thing I asked was I ran up to someone, I said, there are gummies in my pocket, can you get me them? Like I was incapable of grasping.
This is Running for Real, the podcast for runners who know that for every runner's high, there are just as many lows. All those just missed PRs, easy runs that feel hard, injury blues, and more. Each week, we'll talk to running, health, and wellness experts about their highs, lows, and best advice to build our confidence. Running for Real is about being honest, being brave, and most of all, not feeling alone. And now here's our host, Tina Muir.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 157 of the Running for Real podcast. I am excited you are here for this bonus episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, this episode is a special one. It was recorded live. It was my it was my first live show recording in New York City. You are hearing it second just so we could give everyone a few days to get it together because not everyone has Jeremy to put their episodes together as quickly as he is able to do. So thank you to him. But this was my live show hosted by Generation UCAN, who, as you know, I am a huge fan of. I use them primarily for my fueling during races. And I am really excited that they put on opportunities like this for you to kind of get to know us as podcasters, but also to just kind of highlight the things that they do. They highlight things that are important and are often left unsaid. This episode was about marathon stories, so we were kind of sharing experiences. I, of course, took over the section of struggles. Doesn't that match up with me quite well? And we just talked about various aspects of training for a marathon, how it makes you feel. It was a really real, raw, vulnerable, just honest, feel-good kind of conversation about marathons and just about the other podcasters in general, which I should have already mentioned are Carrie Tollefson, Emily Abbate, and Angie Spencer from Marathon Training Academy. So it was just this casual conversation. We had a really nice group of people in the audience who asked loads of questions at the end, which was really enjoyable. And it was just fun to kind of get to know these podcasters a bit better, these inspiring women, to hear some things that they had struggled through with their marathons, but also things that they had learned from their marathons. Angie, at the time of this recording, had run 61 marathons, so she definitely had a bit more experience than the rest of us. But it was great to learn from each person, you know, the journey that we go through. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. It is a special one and it is an enjoyable one because it was done in person. So you can just see it's a bit more like intimate because we were actually there with the audience right there. So I hope you enjoy this episode. We're just going to take a quick moment to thank a few sponsors and then I'll be right to this live recording hosted by Generation UCAN with Carrie Tollefson, Emily Abbate and Angie Spencer from Marathon Training Academy. All right, let's get to it. Thank you to Generation UCAN for sponsoring this episode of the Running for Real podcast. Honestly, friends, right now, my life is a little hectic. We are moving from Lexington to St. Louis. I just took a 3-week trip to England with Bailey. The New York City Marathon is here. So as you listen to this, I am probably already in New York. That means my nutrition has at times been a little lacking. There have been a lot of times where I don't know what I would have done without UCAN. And I'm not asking for sympathy in any way. I know everyone has a crazy busy life now, but I'm more saying that we all have these stressful times where life is just this massive blur and whirlwind. You probably know by now that I use Generation UCAN for my fuel choice in races, the cranberry raspberry before the race, and I used the bars before the race, and then more cranberry raspberry in the longer races. I even carried it in my shorts in the Boston Marathon because I couldn't bear the idea of taking down gels. That's how much I trust UCAN to fuel me through my races. But UCAN isn't just for people training for goal races or doing big things. I find right now it is so helpful with life being all over the place. We all go through these phases where grabbing something on the go is all we can manage. And it's either that or it's not having anything. And for me, the Generation UCAN with protein has been ideal for taking with me. I can mix 2 scoops up in water, or I can have one of my favorite chocolate peanut butter UCAN bars and run out the door. At least then I know my body is being taken care of. I have some form of UCAN every single day, and I can't really imagine my life without it. You can add the powders to smoothies, to pancakes. There are all kinds of recipes out there if you want to get a little hit of that runner fuel into your everyday things. And you, my friend, can get 25% off at generationucan.com for using code TinaMuir25. Yes, that's 25% off. That's a massive discount. The website again is generationucan.com, and you can use code TinaMuir25 to go see for yourself. Thank you to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this episode of the Running for Real podcast and for attending this event. Athletic Greens came along, they gave samples to everyone, and they just proved that they are a wonderful support to not only runners out there, but to myself, to Emily. We both talked about how much we like it. Emily likes to have it straight after her run. I like it to be the first thing I do post-pee in the morning when I wake up. That way I know I have 75 proven vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients. I have digestion, gut health, liver support, immune and nervous system support, efficient energy production, antioxidants, superfoods, adaptogens for hormones. It just gives you everything in one go. If you are someone who's pregnant, you can keep taking it. If you are nursing, you can keep taking it. You may want to check with your doctor, but I have checked with mine and she is absolutely fine with me taking it across the board within my life over the coming years. And that makes me pretty excited. And you also get some probiotics, some prebiotics. And with each serving, you get the antioxidant equivalent of 12 servings of fruit and vegetable. I have not been particularly good at getting in my fruits and vegetables lately, to be honest. And so I like knowing that Athletic Greens is keeping me safe, especially as those of you who have big races coming up. You do not want to get sick at this last hurdle. That is the last thing you want to do. So keep yourself protected, keep yourself healthy. And especially if you have some travel coming up, there's lots of bugs around to get sick. And I really believe Athletic Greens has helped me to stay healthy. And I believe it will help you too. You can get a $79 travel pack for free. That's 20 servings with your first order by going to athleticgreens.com/Tina. That's athleticgreens.com/Tina. And I really think you should give it a try. I love it, and I have a feeling you will too.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us here to kick off New York City Marathon weekend. Who here is running this weekend? All right, awesome. We got a lot of runners. So there's probably a lot of nerves in the room, people looking for tips, people looking for inspiration. We've got an incredible conversation for you tonight, Marathon Stories with Emily, Tina, Angie, and Carrie. Before we introduce our guests and get this thing rolling, I just want to personally thank you on behalf of the UCAN company for joining us here tonight for Marathon Stories. When we think about the marathon, the element of a story is so tied to the race. You know, everybody runs the marathon for their own reason, and they have their own personal journey as you go on the marathon. And that's what makes it feel so special, you know, and that's what really allows so many of us to resonate with the marathon, even if we personally haven't run New York City ourselves. It's through the stories and the journeys of people who have run the marathon. And as a company, for us, for UCAN, this idea of a marathon, it's very personal to our foundation. How many of you folks in the room are familiar with UCAN? Well, we've got about a third of you or half of you. So the story of UCAN, and when I allude to the marathon, the story of UCAN really starts with the marathon. And it starts with the Feldman family, who underwent their own personal marathon to look for an energy solution for their son, Jonah. Jonah was born with a life-threatening blood sugar condition that caused him to be fed every 2 hours to maintain steady energy levels. So through years and years of research, his family finally found a solution, a nutrition solution that would give Jonah steady and elongated energy so he could sleep throughout the night. Prior to that, their marathon was waking up every 2 hours, day and night, to feed their son to allow him to maintain his energy so he could sleep through the night. When they found this innovative energy solution called Superstarch, it was life-changing for the family. Jonah went from waking up every 2 hours or having to be fed every 2 hours throughout the day to being able to sleep through the night and going 8 hours without needing to be fed. We then started wondering what other types of individuals on a marathon journey could benefit from this Superstarch, this very unique, revolutionary energy source that delivers long-lasting energy. And so after we ran some clinical trials, we found that for runners and for endurance athletes, for anyone that's active, the same energy source that gave life to Jonah was also something that allowed runners and athletes to extend their energy and maintain their energy for several hours without dealing with the sugar spikes and the highs and lows that a lot of you who are runners are used to. So our journey began at the marathon. In 2010, we launched the UCAN company at the Boston Marathon and really launched it with Meb Keflezighi, one of the most legendary marathoners that we've ever seen, as the face of UCAN. Meb had been using UCAN starting in 2009 prior to us having a company or a product. And with Meb's backing and validation, we went to market in 2010 with our UCAN products powered by Superstarch, offering longer lasting, healthier energy for runners. The marathon journey with UCAN continues as we look ahead to the Olympic trials coming up here in 2020. 9 years after our launch, we're proud to say we have 50 athletes that have currently qualified for the 2020 Olympic trials, a combination of men and women, all fueled by UCAN. And they're using it both in their training as part of their marathon races to get the best out of themselves. And finally, when we talk about stories, the story of UCAN and the marathon story, it's been continued through the voice and told through the voice of these great podcasters that we're lucky enough to partner up with tonight, each bringing their own unique spin to their marathon journey and offering perspective with their stories. So I just want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Without further ado, let's introduce our guests of honor. We start off with Carrie Tollefson. She's an Olympian. You will see her on the New York City Marathon broadcast on Sunday. If you're watching it out, give it up for Carrie Tollefson, host of the C. Tolley Run podcast. And alongside Carrie, we've got Tina Muir. Tina's host of the Running for Real podcast. She's an elite runner herself, achieved some really impressive times. Tina's been a featured keynote speaker. She's got a lot of really honest, real things to say. Host of the Running for Real podcast, Tina Muir. And we welcome Angie Spencer. She is a veteran of, I lost count. I would have told you a number last week. It's already changed. A veteran of many, many marathons. She's host of the Marathon Training Academy podcast, a run coach herself, Angie Spencer. And last but certainly not least, give it up for Emily Abbate. She's host of the Hurdle podcast. She's a fitness journalist, a certified personal trainer, a run coach, wealth of knowledge. Give it up for Emily. So we're lucky enough to have these four women here getting ready to provide some insight to us. I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity and ask the very first question to you guys before I step out of the way. Podcasting has become huge nowadays, and a lot of us take the opportunity when we're on the run, when we're commuting, to tune into a podcast. How did you guys all get started in podcasting? Carrie, we can start with you. How did you get started in podcasting, and what do you try to bring with your voice to the podcast space?
Well, thanks, Farin. We love UCAN and everything that you guys offer to all of us runners, so we appreciate all the support that you've given us. But for me, podcasting came after my YouTube channel, which I don't know, I'm older now, and I feel like when I started YouTubing, it was not really a thing. And then podcasting became about, and the people that I work with at C. Tolley Run were like, well, YouTubing is kind of maybe going away a little bit. Podcasting is the next big thing. And for me, those of you who know me, I kind of say sorry after I screw up when I'm on camera, because I feel like I can be a goofball. And when I'm on the podcast, it's a little different because it's like the radio voice, right? So it was a scary thing for me to get into podcasting, but it was fun. It was new. It was fresh. And to be honest, I have loved having a little bit longer conversation with my guest on the show. And so it's really become something that's fueled me each week, and hopefully fuels a lot of you and some of the listeners that tune in to see Tolley Run each week. But I just think the inspiration of hearing everyone's journey, whether you're an Olympic athlete like I am, or you are somebody that's just learning how to run a 5K, or just not even a runner yet, just learning how to be, motivated to get after it, which is my favorite saying. So a long story short, it's kind of started, around and about and all the way around and whatever you say, but it's been a great journey and I've loved every minute of it.
Well, for me, it's interesting you mentioned about the video, because I actually started with, I was working for a company called Runners Connect, which some of you may have heard of. They had a podcast that was pretty much dying a death. It was really on its way out. And my boss said to me, you can either start a video channel or you can start a podcast. And I had no clue what a podcast was. but I knew that I'm not really kind of the put together video type. So I opted for that, really started to enjoy it. Although my first interview was Dave McGillivray, which those of you who know of him, the race director for the Boston Marathon, pretty, high up person to start with. I was so nervous. There was echoing the entire way around. I can't even listen to it now because it was so terrible. But, hopefully I've progressed from there, ended up starting my own podcast when I left Runners Connect. And similar to Carrie, I just really enjoy learning from people. And it's interesting, this morning I was talking to someone who was asking me about what else do you like besides running? And I was like, you know what? I do like running, but actually that's probably pretty low down on my list of things that I love, because the podcast for me is about actually getting to know the people underneath the runner, not so much the running itself. So, yeah.
I guess back in 2009, my husband and co-host Trevor mentioned that he wanted to start a website and a podcast. And my first question was, what is a podcast? Had no idea. And the second question I had for him was, who's going to want to listen to us? I'm just a normal everyday mom. I had run a couple marathons by then. My husband wasn't even a runner. So I was like, this is not going to work because no one wants to hear me talk the whole time. How can you do a running podcast if you're not a runner? So that was kind of the impetus for him to start his running journey. And we kicked off early 2010. So we're kind of old in podcasting years. But the show has just really been inspiring for us because we've been able to meet so many great guests, just talk to everyday runners. That's one of our favorite parts, is getting to interact with listeners. And like Tina was saying, our first guest of importance, that was kind of big in the running world, was Bart Yasso. And our audio and our connection was terrible. It kept dropping the call. I think we had to call him back 3 times. Of course, he is the most gracious person in the world if you've ever had the chance to say hi to Bart. After that inglorious start, we've been doing it for a few years, and definitely just being able to have such amazing listeners is our favorite part. And our tagline is, you have what it takes to run a marathon and change your life. And people think it's corny at first sometimes, but it sticks in your head. And I think anyone who's run a marathon can attest to the life-changing power that it has.
Can I just quickly jump in and say, Angie and Trevor have had 8 million downloads, which is just insane. I just want to tell them that. They're too modest to say it themselves.
I don't have 8 million downloads.
Either do I.
2 years young this December. Do I have any hurdlers in the room? Any hurdle pocket? Yes. Hi, hurdlers. Thanks for coming. Again, my name is Emily Abbate. If you don't know the premise of Hurdle is a podcast that talks to everyone from entrepreneurs to top CEOs about how they got through tough times in their lives, hurdles of sorts, by leaning into wellness. So a little deviation from you ladies in that I feel like I'm a little all-encompassing of wellness and fitness, maybe a little bit more as a whole. With that said, I had my own hurdle moment, as I like to refer to them. When I was in college, I stepped on a scale, saw a number that was very high for me at 204 pounds, standing at 5'4", and knew that I needed to do something about it. And it wasn't until I started eating better and found a love for running that I started to believe in myself. And then over time, that 70-pound weight loss came off. And so inspired by my own hurdle moment, inspired by some of the personal things that I was going through in my life, I decided to start connecting with other people and talk to these people that inspire me about their journeys and how, despite what you do, whether you are Sadie Lincoln and you created Bar 3, or if you're Dina Castor and you're Dina Castor, that we all have had times in our lives where, I don't want to swear, I almost just did, where things have gone wrong and we have leaned into wellness to get through it. So I'm so thankful. Again, on the Dina note, we sat down together at a hotel in London. I've recorded this everywhere, from London to the Santa Monica streets to Miami. So I'm so grateful for this journey and where it's brought me. And I'm really excited to be here with all of you tonight. So thanks so much for having me.
Well, I'm going to step out of the way because we've got a whole bunch of expertise in this room. Thank you all for sharing how you got into podcasting and a little bit of your background. I'm just going to step out of the way and let you guys take it over.
All right, Varn. So since we're here for the New York City Marathon, we have a little bit of different stuff going on. None of us are racing. But I want to hear from all of you, why 26.2? I mean, we've kind of heard, your start to this whole running thing, but why did you guys pick the marathon? And tell us maybe the inspiration behind it.
I can't really see how outside when I was running as an elite runner, how that could have not been where I ended up. Being someone who was a distance runner in college, and I did come over here to the US to do my university, so I was very much ingrained in the American system. It just kind of was where you ended up. I mean, I look back now, and there are some people who just do half marathons or go back to 10Ks and stay with that, but for me, I felt like I didn't really have a choice, but I also wanted to. I love the idea of, I always loved my long runs. I always quite enjoyed in college. I would set off, when we would drive vans to where we were doing our long runs, I would get out of the van and go so I could get ahead of the guys. And then I would make it a challenge to see how long I could go before they caught me up. And I used to be able to make it to about 13 miles before they caught me up. So I actually was really proud of that. And so that kind of led into me thinking, I think I'm going to enjoy this marathon thing.
I had just moved across the country and had a couple small kids at home. And I was kind of feeling, honestly, a little bit depressed and not sure what the next stage of my life was going to look like. And I actually needed more time to think. So with little kids, they ask you a million questions. And I had done a couple of 5Ks at the time and really kind of enjoyed the challenge. I really didn't consider myself to be an athlete at the time. I didn't really do any sports growing up. But running was something that was personally challenging, and I could get out there and just let my thoughts go, solve problems in my head, whatever. And somehow the idea of doing a marathon just kind of stuck in my head. And at the time, I didn't have any friends who were runners. I didn't know anyone who'd ever done a marathon. And maybe that's why it was so appealing. It was kind of like my thing. And so I signed up for the race and bought a pair of running shoes and then proceeded to do pretty much everything wrong. From fueling to long runs to training, there was a lot of messiness in it. But I got through it and crossed that first finish line, and it was painful, but it was amazing. And I knew that, I would do another one. So 61 marathons later, I'm still at it. Something stuck, apparently. It's life-changing.
How many first-time marathoners this weekend do we have in here? I never wanted to be you, ever. Not at 61, but an 8-time marathoner as of Chicago. I grew up weight cycling my entire life. I mentioned the dramatic weight loss in college. And for me, running was always something that I dreaded. My brother was the track athlete of the family. My sophomore year of high school, I didn't make the volleyball team because I couldn't run a mile in under 10 minutes. So for me, running just was not my personal calling. But when I started to go on this weight loss journey, what I learned was that running was the most attainable thing for me to do that didn't require me spending money. The barrier to entry in running is quite low. So I started every day one summer with what I thought was a mile. It was a half mile. I measured it at the end of the summer. It took me 14 minutes to run it every single day, but it didn't even matter when I realized that, because what I had realized was that despite the distance, that summer I learned to love running, which was something a girl from Trumbull, Connecticut never thought that she would do. So learned to love running, signed up for that first 5K. The 5K becomes a 10K, and this is a familiar story, I'm sure, for many of you. Before I knew it, the Hartford Half Marathon, and then a few years after that, after a slew of those, the Hartford Marathon. And so now 8 in, and I just, I affectionately call the first time I ran the New York City Marathon that day as the best day of my life. So anyone that's going out there on Sunday, just know that you are already so far in this journey. You have done so much for yourself, and you will always look back on that day, no matter what happens, as one of the best days of your life. So for me, marathoning has been life-changing would be an understatement, but it has empowered me to be a better version of myself everywhere I go, and I'm just so thankful for it.
Awesome. I was on the track. So I ran, you saying you went from 5K to 10K to half marathon to marathon. Like, I went from running 12 and a half laps on the track to, what the heck, let's just do 26.2 miles, 4 months to the day, basically, after having my second baby. And for me, one of the big reasons why I wanted to do the marathon was because I had nothing to compare it to. And I don't know about some of you, if you're just kind of, going for it and have never run something in between 5K and a marathon, I think that's okay too. It's a long ways further. 3.1 to 26.2 it's a long jump, a big jump. But, for me, it was when I was competing and running so hard for so long, I needed something that I did not have to, look back on the same workouts or what I had done. And I think I had gotten scared of the sport after I had my children. I wanted to come back after Ruby, who's getting some water. I wanted to come back after her, but my heart wasn't in it anymore. It wasn't in it enough to train twice a day and to travel and to compete while she was at home with my husband. And I wanted to be home with my kids or my kiddo. And then I had my second baby and I kind of was like, okay, maybe going away would be okay. I love Everett, but I needed some more time, right? I needed some time, like Angie said. And I was doing TV work. But I thought, you know what? I'm not going to want to travel so much. So why not stay out on a Saturday morning for 2 hours and just go for a 2-hour run with my friends? And it was wonderful. It was really fun to tackle something. It went horribly wrong, and we can get into that later. But it was something that it took me 6 years to come back, and I finally ran my second one this year. So let me just say it took me a while to go back to it again, but it was
Let's tell everyone what you ran.
Well, that was my next question. But I did do my second marathon this year, and my second question was, what inspired you to do your last marathon? And for me, I wanted the house record, to be honest. Charlie, my husband, and 2 boys are at the hotel right now taking a little bit of a rest because they've been running around all day, the 3 of them and Charlie. But I wanted his record. I missed it by a minute. And that first time around, and I got it by 11 minutes this time around. So it was a fun day. It was the Twin Cities Marathon. Anyone ever run Twin Cities before? It's beautiful. I ran with a few people today that were from New York, and they were like, hands down, most beautiful course. Just beautiful. So yeah, I did it, and it went well. Didn't train much different, but I did have a 4-month-old. So there you go.
Tell us the time. Come on, it's
I ran
impressive.
2:51:56. Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Tina's the group hype man.
Yeah,
I guess I am.
I know. She's like, tell your stats. But okay, so let's talk about you guys. Let's talk about the inspiration behind your last marathon.
Well, my last one was definitely a little bit different to all my previous ones. The previous ones were definitely about the results, about, I want to get to the next level. It was that typical runner thing we do where when I get to X level, I'll be happy. But then you get there and you're like, well, I want to get to the next level. So I kept doing that, kept chasing it. I've actually only run, I think, 6 marathons, so not that many. But I don't know how many of you know this, but I think quite a few in the room do that. In 2016, I ran for Great Britain in a World Championships. I ran my PR later that year of 2:36 in the marathon. So those were all about times, all about accomplishing things. And then in early 2017, I stopped running completely. Wasn't sure I would ever run again. Decided all of a sudden I wanted to start a family. Didn't run a step for 3 months. Had a child less than a year later.
Was on my podcast and, had told her whole story about, not having her period for 9 years. And like the week later found out she was pregnant.
Yeah, it happened very quick. It was 10 weeks from stopping running to being pregnant after, not having a period for 9 years. Had my daughter, and I thought, I had 2 goals. I wanted to kind of get back to the joy of running because towards the end of my running career, it was all about the finish line. I remember being in January of 2017, and I had my next race was going to be the Gold Coast in Australia, and I was like, I can't wait to cross the finish line in July, like that. And when you're thinking that in January, that's pretty sad. That like all you're thinking about is the finish line, not even the race, not the build up to the race, the finish line. So I wanted to find joy. I decided to do the Disney half marathon the following January, about 1 year later, as my kind of attempt to get my joy back in running, and I did. And so I thought, you know what, I want to see if I can do it at the marathon, and was fortunate enough to be allowed into Boston. And it was hard. Like I forgot how I think I thought because I'd run 2:36, anything slower would just feel easy. Definitely did not. I ran 2:58, which is still fast. I get that, but I was working about as hard as I had in any marathon to run that time. So it was coming at it a completely different way. But for me, it was just about doing it for myself rather than about the finish line.
Well, like some of these ladies have mentioned, your goals kind of tend to snowball as you continue on your running journey. And so my last marathon was the Norwich Marathon in Vermont. I'm actually working to run a marathon in all 50 states. And I'm getting pretty close. That was state number 48 and marathon number 61. So we're getting close to the finish line. But it really has been about the joy of the journey. Maybe in the beginning, it kind of was a wild hair, like, oh, can I do this thing? How am I going to juggle this with 3 young kids and a busy life? And just being able to be inspired by other people who are able to manage the training and the traveling. And I think it's just been an amazing way to see different states that I probably wouldn't go to otherwise, and being able to meet people from those states. So yeah, this last marathon was extremely hilly. I think it had 3,000 feet of elevation gain. It was freezing cold and it rained the entire time. So my hands felt like little ice blocks. You're trying to fumble with your fuel and get it in your mouth. But there was still something joyous about it. There was the beautiful Connecticut foliage. Vermont foliage. I was in Connecticut 2 weeks before that for a marathon, so I'm getting all my states mixed up. But, there's so much beauty around us, and I think that's one thing about running is that you can just look around you and think, it's so great to be alive. It's great to have this strong, healthy body, that I can do things that other people can't do. And I really try to remind myself that no matter what marathon I'm running or where I'm at, is that it's a privilege to be able to do this running thing. It's not something that's guaranteed. And so really just having that gratitude, I think, is what keeps me going and keeps me excited about it.
I can relate to the fumbling with the fuel feeling. My last marathon was Chicago, but before that, Boston in 2018, which was the greatest year of all time, if you know anything about the history of Boston as of late. I just remember being so cold and running up to someone on the side at one point to ask them if they could put my AirPod back in the case because I couldn't do it myself and it was dead. And then the second thing I asked was I ran up to someone, I said, there are gummies in my pocket. Can you get me them? Like I was incapable of grasping for them. So that was a fun experience. As I mentioned, my last marathon was Chicago. It was a dream, as dreamy marathons go. I had heard so much about how flat the course was, and I decided to run it just because it's nice to get out of New York every once in a while. I'd done New York 4 times. Like I said, I love it, but I was just looking for a different challenge. And so I headed to Chicago, at first going into my training cycle with not a lot of expectations or not really having any big goals. But as I did more and more speed work, I realized that I was in a much better place than I had ever been before. Maybe aside from Boston, I was really geared up for Boston, but again. So I went out to Chicago and I had an amazing day out there. I ran a 21-minute and 8-second PR. And qualified for Boston, which is something it's a sentence I never thought in my life that I would actually say out loud. So when I ran Boston previously, I did it with a charity or with a corporate sponsor. So it feels really bizarre and empowering to say that I earned my spot there. And everyone says, well, are you going to go back? And I think I still have a little bit of PTSD, but I'm thinking about it. And knowing me, I'll probably be back there in 2021.
All right, so this is all we've been talking about are all the good moments, the nice things that happen. But we all know, or those of you who've done marathons know, that marathons are not always wonderful the entire way around. In fact, if you get one of those, that's kind of a unicorn that that happens maybe once in a lifetime. But there are also many really tough moments that you either mentally give up, you either physically, have to walk off the course or something breaks down. So I would love to hear, something from each of you. But maybe Emily, we can start with you this time. A struggle that you went through in one of your races and how you got through it.
It's funny because I remember in Boston in 2018, the mood in Boston was really glum. And I'll just put this out there so we're all on the same page. Basically, race day was real feel of 32. It was hailing when I started. The wind gusts were up to like 50 miles an hour. A lot of the elites dropped out of hypothermia. It was a rough day. It was a really rough day. And the week of the marathon, like I said, the vibe in Boston, it was just like everyone was bummed. And I think for my betterment, I went into race day and I wasn't mad. Like the reality was when I showed up there that day that I could be mad and waste energy on that, or I could show up and accept the circumstances and do the best I could with what I had. And so I went into race day knowing that I was prepared to run this marathon regardless of what it was going to be like out there. Despite being very prepared and having a trash bag on me until like mile 12, I think. Like everyone out there just looked like The Walking Dead. I got to the hills, and I say hills because everyone just talks about Heartbreak Hill, but if you know anything about Boston, there's 4 of them. So don't let anyone fool you. And I just remember running up the last and final hill, just so beside myself. And I wanted to cry so bad, but I was just incapable of like completely letting go to that amount. But never in a marathon have I felt like my legs were literally just lead and I was drenched. And I had thankfully just changed sneakers at one point because I had a friend that had extra sneakers for me on the side. And I'm just drenched and everything hurts. And in my head, not finishing was never an option. It's never an option. But I just remember so many of the people that I had been pacing with up to this point, slowly, one by one, they were all going into a med tent. They were all ducking out. And in my head, I was like, well, if all of these people are ducking out, like, am I doing something wrong? But not finishing was never an option. So that was quite the mental battle to get through. And again, like I said, I mean, I went into it with a really great attitude and I walked out of that race with a 4:01, which for me, having a PR of 3:28 and aside from that 3:28, a 3:49.13. So I was so proud of that 4:01 and I hung that poster very proudly, that Tracksmith poster, which if all of you are running, my biggest suggestion for you is to head down to the Tracksmith pop-up on Monday and grab a poster with your customized marathon time on it. They don't pay me to say these things. I just think they're the best thing in my apartment. But I proudly hung that poster right over my bed, like the second I could, because I worked my butt off for that 4:01 and I was so happy with it.
Well, since you talked about cold marathons, I'm going to talk about hot marathons because the heat is
you run 61 of them, so you've been through everything.
I've been through a few of each, but the heat is my personal nemesis. It's like I'm a pretty heavy sweater anyway, and a salty sweater, and I can just think about heat and start to sweat pretty much. And my skin loves to chafe, and so you get the salt and the sweat and the heat going, and my skin's like, I'm going to chafe everywhere, no matter what you put on me. So I remember one marathon in particular. It was the Lincoln Marathon in Lincoln, Nebraska, and it was one of those spring races where you've kind of trained through the winter, so you have, most of your long runs are in the cold, and then you get a super hot race day, and you're like, what do I do with this? I'm not heat acclimated. And it was kind of like people all around were just kind of like death marching, and there's people being hauled away in ambulances. So you're thinking, this is probably not even that safe. And aid stations, fortunately, they had ice. I'm sticking ice in my sports bra and like rubbing it on my head and, anything you can think of to keep cool. And I'm kind of like Emily. I'm like too stubborn ever to quit. And I definitely recommend to people to quit if it becomes an unsafe situation. So I'm a registered nurse, and I would say, live to run another day for sure. But, for myself, I was like, okay, I'm uncomfortable, I'm miserable, but I'm not in any trouble here. And so I just kind of, marched that one in. And there has been times during several marathons, actually, that I've promised myself, just cross the finish line and you never have to do this again. And then, of course, you cross the finish line and you're like, well, that wasn't so bad, was it? Maybe you can relate. I don't know.
Well, I had a fueling issue, and I was lucky enough in, 2013 to kind of connect with Varn and say, hey, Varn, I need some product. Or he maybe said, Carrie, you need product. But I was feeding a baby right before this marathon, and I was feeding the baby during the marathon, whatever, if you want to say that. My body was going through all kinds of gyrations. And I did media work the morning of the marathon. So it was like I had to be at the start line at 5 a.m. or something. And for the guys in the room, sorry, but most of you probably have kids. So here we go. I pumped at about 7 a.m. and I had a peanut butter and jelly full-on sandwich at like 5:30 or something like that. But by the time I got to 20 miles, I was waving to the crowd. I was taking it all in, and I forgot to have most of my Gen UCAN. So I was kind of like, just taking it all in, like I said, and not really paying attention to my fueling. Well, I got to 20, and I think it's mile 19 in Minnesota, they have this big blow up wall, and it's terrible. It's not nice to say that, but now that I've run it a couple times, I think it's more so you get fired up to finish, but at that time I was pissed. I was like, why do they have this blow up wall? Like, that's terrible. And I got to the hills because that's where our hills start, and everything started to go wrong. I went from running 6:20, 6:30 pace to a 7:20 to an 8:15 to a 9:45 to, and it just kept going. And I was walking, which my husband informed me that most people walk. But as an Olympic athlete, I thought, whoa, I can't walk, right? So I went through everything. I did it all wrong that day. And I got to the finish line. I realized I hadn't taken all my Gen UCAN. I hadn't taken the goos or whatever they were at the time. I had some like chomps. I don't even know what I was taking. And I hadn't done anything. So for those of you who are running, I tell you that story because you need to stick with the fueling that you've done. And if you haven't fueled, well, make sure you do something tomorrow because, the longer it goes, the more you really rely on what you did early on. And for me, this product has just been a lifesaver because not only was I feeding that baby, and I could continue to feed the baby after, but it fueled me throughout now the last 6 years. And I've really learned to run properly. And I think that's why I had an 11-minute PR, to be honest. Not because, like I said, the training was so different, but because of the fueling.
Well, that's always good to hear at a UCAN event.
I know, right? There we go. But it's the truth.
Yeah, no, I know it is. I believe you. I just want to share mine quickly as well. So in my first marathon, the Philadelphia Marathon 2013, I think, my husband, who was also my coach, had said to me, right, this isn't like any other race. You can't just go out and hold on. It doesn't work like that. I need you to go through 13 controlled. So I did. I stuck to what I was supposed to be doing, was having a conversation with someone. But I got to 13 and I was like, right, go time. So I took off, picked up the pace, stopped fueling. My last drink at mile 15. And mile 16 had the arrogance to think, I've only got 10 miles left. That's not that bad. Mile 19, I felt like someone squeezed all the air out of my lungs, and I suddenly couldn't see. I couldn't think. I had one good mile, which of course happened to be the mile I ran past my husband, and he was like, "What is going on?" Because I was running fine at that point, but then it came back to bite me. I ended up, run walking the final few miles. Couldn't see where I was going. I barely knew what my name was. But all I could think about was and again, Carrie and I I think things have changed a little bit, but coming from an elite world, I was like, I can't believe I'm walking right now. But and so there was me thinking that I was going to smash my time. And I ended up running around 9 minutes for my final few miles. It was miserable, but definitely taught me some lessons about multiple things for the marathon.
Did you think you were seeing Jesus too?
Yeah, I think.
I totally thought I was walking on the clouds of heaven. Like I had all this white going on around, like the blood sugar was totally gone, like none. And it was just like whites everywhere, and it was not.
No, it's not an experience I would recommend to anyone. Okay, so the next thing I want to know from you ladies is, I think most runners at some point end up tying their self-worth to their running. I mentioned earlier about me kind of doing that for the finish line. And we've all kind of had an experience where you thought something was going to be this amazing experience. You were were envisioning it and everything was great, and you just see it in your mind as going perfectly, and then something goes wrong and it all comes crashing down. So I would love to hear, I obviously don't want to hear, I don't love hearing the fact that you struggled, but I would love to hear something that you, kind of a moment that happened to you, and how you like forgave yourself for kind of making that error, or letting yourself kind of get carried away to where your self-worth was tied to that result or that finish. So Angie, maybe you could start.
Well, I can't really think of a specific race, but I did go through a pretty big health struggle about 3 years ago. My hormones were totally out of balance. I ended up gaining like 40 pounds in 1 year, which, as Emily knows, is not a good look when you're 5'4". And, your identity as a running coach, as a runner is pretty much tied into your body in a lot of ways. And I really felt like, number one, I was letting myself down because somehow I had managed to get myself into this physical condition. And number two, you have a lot of like, what are people going to think of me? Here's this running coach telling us to do things. And, she looks like that and she can't even, get her act together when it comes to her fitness. And so it was a real big humbling experience for me. And I really had to realize that I am enough no matter what I look like. And I cannot put all my identity in my physical appearance. I can't put it in my running times because obviously they suffered during that period of time. And I really just had to step back and think about some of my core values. And a couple of my core values are gratitude and courage. And I really had to think, how can I apply this in my daily life? And each person in here is going to have different ways that they can apply gratitude and courage. Everyone has their own unique challenges, their own unique struggles. And so I think if you think about your values and really kind of dig into that, it's going to help you through those situations where you kind of feel stuck and you don't really see a good way forward. And fortunately, I was able to start working with a nutritionist, and maybe we'll talk about this a little bit later when we talk about nutrition and fueling. But thankfully, I did come through that really challenging point in my life. But it's really helped me to have more self-knowledge and realize that, you cannot just have all your focus be on physical appearance or your running times because, the body gets older and at some point you don't PR anymore. And just to be really grateful for the physical shape that you do have, whatever it is right now, just be grateful that your legs can carry you forward. And so I guess that's one thing that I've kind of learned through going through that.
As I mentioned, when I was younger, I had this interesting relationship with running, but also specifically the mile. Having not made the JV team my sophomore year in high school because I couldn't do it in under 10 minutes when I was growing up and overweight, my brother, the track athlete, would always joke and he'd say, when I would bother him, he'd say, go run a mile, knowing that I couldn't do it well. So as many of you know, are all around the United States and obviously internationally as well, now mile races are the move. They're the thing that people love to do. And I myself felt very empowered to run one as well. So earlier this summer, I signed up for the Brooklyn Mile. And I was very open and excited about my training for this. As someone who was at the time a 7-time marathoner, the mile still felt scary because it wasn't just, okay, can you go out and run a mile? It was, okay, how fast can you go out and run a mile? So from the get-go, with the help of an amazing coach in New York City named Steve Finley, we geared up for me to do it as fast as possible. And my impossible, crazy goal was 6 minutes. And so I trained really hard for that. And as I mentioned, it definitely has paid off in the long term with all of the progress that it's helped me achieve with the marathon. I mean, by running faster more frequently, I was seeing speeds and easier speeds than ever before. So super thankful for that. But I was very open and honest about that 6-minute goal and ended up going out to Kent Avenue in Williamsburg and running a 6:07. And that was really challenging for me to accept after the fact because I felt embarrassed. I felt like it was something that I should have been able to do, and I just didn't pull it out that day. And so it took a little, a couple of days to get over myself, and a couple of good pep talks with some friends and a couple of good glasses of Red Bull Rolo. But once that happened, I really realized that, every failure, obviously, it happens to teach us something. And so it was great, actually. Later in the summer, again, in New York, there's the Fifth Avenue Mile, as many of you know about. And so I went out for the Fifth Avenue Mile the day after a 20-miler long run, or long training run. And I went out there that day, and in my head, I was just like, you know what, whatever happens here, like, it's all good. Like, this is not the point. The point is not to do a sub-6 on Fifth Avenue today. And I didn't. I did a 6:09. But the fact that I went out there and ran a 6:09 the day after going out and running 20 miles, I was like, well, you learn something and you're ready to take on whatever the next challenge is that comes your way. So again, all of these things, all of these failures, these struggles, they're happening to teach us something. They're happening to help us grow some grit. And I can certainly say that I'm very proud of that 6:07 and that 6:09 and all the other numbers in between.
I would have to say, I think the big thing that I've learned from this sport, which is everything. I mean, I've learned everything from this sport. I've grown up in it. It's become my career now after my running career. And, obviously I'm trying to teach my kids, not necessarily that they have to run, but that we can learn from it. But I would have to say coming back from injuries was probably the hardest thing. And the big thing for me, and all of us will experience injuries, right? Maybe not all of us are going to have to run the mile on national television and show everyone that you are not as fit as you once were. But I can remember doing that in Arkansas, running the mile and being like 10 seconds slower than I was the year before. And knowing everyone that was interested in the sport was going to watch and see me, not where I was, not where I should be. And experiencing that in front of everyone has been a really good life lesson for me, that we can put ourselves out there even if we're not 100%, and we can learn from it and we can fight back from it. And it's been a struggle. When you are an elite athlete and this is what you've lived and grown up doing, it's hard to move on from it. And I'm there in this point now where I do broadcast and I do speaking and everything is still revolved around running, but I'm getting slower by the second. And it still is my identity. So towing the line is still kind of scary because there's still a little bit of expectation. Even when I ran my 2:51, then people were already like, are you going to try and run the trials? Like, are you going to do this and that? And I'm like, if you saw my training, there's no way I should try to run the trials. I'm trying to just get out the door. But I think the big thing that we all have to keep in mind is even though we have had failures, we always come back stronger because of it. And I think we're all really lucky and ahead of the game because we have the run to kind of smooth it all over again. So pretty thankful for it.
We've been talking a bit about challenges, and one big challenge for people can be nutrition and fueling in particular. And I'm sure all of us will agree that there's no one-size-fits-all fueling or nutrition strategy that's going to work for everyone. And what worked for you 2 years ago, might not work for you in 2 years. So it's kind of one of those things that's always in flux. I've been really fortunate to be using Generation UCAN products since 2013. And I started using them not in the way I recommend it to people. I did not practice with it at all. I had total disaster with my fueling, couldn't take gels anymore, was getting really sick. And so I just thought, what the heck? It couldn't be any worse than it is. I'm going to use it for this marathon. And it went perfectly. So I feel really grateful that that's been one predictable thing I've been able to count on for so many years and so many marathons. But let's talk a little bit about nutrition. And the first thing to start out with is, are there any changes in your daily nutrition patterns when you're in marathon training? Because a lot of people are not in marathon training, 12 months of the year. So Emily, you want to start and comment on that?
Pizza Fridays. Every Friday, like without fail, I'll go and get 2, even though most Fridays I think I should only get 1, but I go to the pizza spot. I'm a New Yorker, around the corner. I grab 2 slices. I go home. I have it with a nice big glass of red. It's the best thing. But in addition to that, for me, It's always funny. I run with a great group on Thursday mornings, and all of the men in the group are like, I can't eat enough. I'm struggling to eat enough to get all the calories I need. My body is just a fat burning machine, and I've lost 20 pounds. And I walk into Run Club and I'm like, I've gained 12 pounds. I don't have this problem at all. And I'm just constantly hungry. So I think the difference for me during a marathon training cycle is I'm actually just trying to fuel my body with whole, great foods more so than usual. I mean, I'm definitely cognizant of what I'm eating on the regular, but I think for me, when it comes to marathon season, it's just really about getting all of the basics in, like, am I starting my day off with my athletic greens, which I shake up every single day because it has 12 servings of fruits and vegetables. That is like my 100% go-to. Then am I having like whole grains with every meal? Am I getting in more vegetables throughout the day? Is there protein around? Like, just really being mindful of what I'm putting into my body, because I know for me, just that extra step, that extra cautious attentiveness really goes the extra distance for me.
Well, for me, I guess I've kind of gone, I don't want to say the opposite way, but when I first started marathoning, I was kind of eating whatever I could to be enough. And then as I transitioned kind of through the elite world over the years, I became more and more controlling with what I was eating, which obviously now I look back makes sense. As I said, not having a period for 9 years, not eating enough, clearly correlates there. But I started to get more and more controlling, to the point to where my final marathon that I did before I stopped was, I was controlling everything. When I was in England with my parents, we had to go to the restaurant I chose so that I knew I could get healthy food. I still was totally addicted to sweets. I had such a sweet tooth. And I know now that was my, I still have a sweet tooth, but it was like a nicotine addiction kind of sweet tooth. And I know now that was obviously my body like screaming at me to give it more, but I'd become to the point where I was only eating, basically a Whole30 diet, for those of you who know what that is, but only clean foods. When I would go to a place where they would be serving like sandwiches, oh no, I'm not eating the bread. How dare you? I was just everything was 100% clean. And so when I stopped running, I knew, I had to change my relationship with food. I worked with a dietitian, and that really, made a difference with my relationship with food. But then this previous marathon in Boston, I kind of went for the opposite. I ate what I wanted, when I wanted. If that was fried chicken, I lived in Kentucky, so there was a lot of it around. If that was fried chicken, I had fried chicken. I kind of just let myself do what I wanted. I was fueling with Generation UCAN, and I ran Boston 100% only on Generation UCAN. And as Varun likes to share my funny story, that I actually ended up wearing capris on a 70-degree day because I forgot my shorts. That's how much I believed in UCAN, that I wasn't daring to go without it. But so I still had that, and I trusted that at least. So I knew that the marathon fueling wise, I would be safe. And like Emily, I also use athletic greens. So that kind of, those two things were the only things I really did. And anything else was just whatever, whenever.
So wait, you wore those 3/4 length tights so you could have your bottle?
UCAN in my
tights. So I was we laugh, but I was the only sub 3 hour marathoner in the Twin Cities Marathon with a belt, so I could have my UCAN. So
we're serious about this.
Yeah, we're serious about this. It's good stuff. But fueling for me, and real quick, or nutrition for me, I love to eat, period. Like I know you're not supposed to say you run to eat, but I run so I can eat more. And I'm not real specific. I'm not real scientific. I've been lucky that I've been able to run consistently. Or if I was injured, I had to, hammer cross training hard because I was getting paid to run. So since I was 12 years old, I haven't really fluctuated much. I put on 40 pounds with babies. But I've been consistent. And I think for me and my body, being consistent has been the key. It's not so much about being so specific. But you don't see me going a week without a run very often unless it's planned in. You don't see me taking a week off without going, and doing some cross training if I'm hurt. It's, I think having consistency, and if you are going to, make sure you worry about weight or whatever. I think that's what's helped me. I do eat. I'm not one to sit with a bag of chips in front of a TV. I do have a little milkshake every night. I have my UCAN milkshake every day at 3 p.m. with my what is he, 6-year-old son. But I think that's been for me. So has it been easy? No, not always. But I think I just think about what I put into my body and enjoy it. Because you know what, guys, we only have one life to live. And if we can run and be healthy, then enjoy some of the things. And you know what? If it's Friday pizza, that sounds lovely. For me, it might be Tuesday and Friday. But I've been able to do that. And
I'm a single 30-something living in New York. It's almost like every other day.
Yeah. And then if you do have children, it becomes, Mom, can we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner of pizza every single day? So it's hard to say no all the time.
I think I'm going to bring us home here with one final question. Obviously, for many of us these days, social media plays a huge role in how we interact with other people, how we consume information, and how maybe even sometimes we carry ourselves. My question for you ladies is, what impact does social media, if any, have on your training?
You know what? For me, it holds me accountable. I am busy. I have all these, I feel like I have 1,000 different jobs. And we were testing out our mics this morning or this afternoon. What time is it? I don't know. But we were talking, and I feel like, how we were all talking at the same time. There are 4 of us talking at the same time. And that's what I feel like is in my head right now. But, I just would have to say social media for me is accountability. When I posted every week, you guys saw it, I would post my long run every week. Some people would come at me and say, why are you posting your time? Like, are you trying to, say you can still run fast or whatever? And I would come right back at them and say, when I post my 17-mile run last week, and I know I have an 18-miler this week, if I don't post that, I can maybe, just sneak away with not getting it in. So for me, it's totally accountability. I don't have a coach in my ear anymore. I don't have teammates holding me accountable to get to practice. So for me, social media has been a good way that way.
I think for me, it's permission. I think a lot of the time within training, we're very much in our own heads, feeling like we're the only ones struggling, we're the only ones having a bad day. And so for social media, those of you who know me, I running for real, I'm very real, share what I'm thinking. So being able to say these things and getting other people saying, yes, that is exactly what I feel like. And I had that day last week, you'll get through it. I think for me, it's a lot about giving myself the permission to not be okay or to struggle with things or to find things hard. So social media for me is just a nice place that I can also find other people who are also feeling that way. One of the sentences in my intro is about not being alone. And I think a lot of that is what social media brings. It brings you a place. Yes, it can be a highlight reel, but it can also be a place where you see that you're not the only one who's having a hard day.
Yeah, I think social media can be a great place for connection. I know we've been able to connect with people all over the world that I would never get to know. I mean, quote unquote, know were it not for social media and being able to share in the highs and the lows of their training. Like Tina was saying, to know that you're not alone when something goes great, there's people to cheer you on, and to know when something just falls apart, that other people have been through that and they can kind of help you put yourself back together. And I guess I will say that the negative part of social media is often we tend to, see all of our uncertainties and all of the negatives. We kind of tend to judge ourselves pretty harshly. And then you can get in the comparison game and you see someone else's highlight reel. So, you can get in that comparison trap. And I'll say, if something is not serving you on social media, then, you need to unfollow that, because there's plenty of positivity on social media. There's communities for everyone, people who can build you up. And so if you feel like you're just getting this vibe that you're not good enough, then that's probably social media that you need to disconnect from. So, it can be very good. It can be a tool for really encouraging you and moving you forward, but it can also be something that can hold you back.
I think it's permission. I think it's accountability. It's all the things that you ladies are saying. I also believe that for me, I had just this one awful long run this year that I had been doing a ton of traveling, spending a lot of time alone. I went out on the long run alone right when I got back, and it was just downhill from the moment I started. And I remember I finished it and I was just so beside myself, crying on a park bench near me. And the next week when I came back to go back out for the next long run, I said, before I walked out, I said on my Instagram story, I said, I'm about to go out there. And I was like, I really need you guys. Like, this cannot go like it went last week. And so I had the notifications from my DMs going to my Garmin, which is not something I always do, but I turned them on, and literally every 2 minutes for 22 miles, someone DM'd me and they told me, complete strangers, some of them, what motivates them to show up when things get hard. And that is what the beauty of social media is. That is the stuff that's worth focusing on, right? It's just this opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals, regardless of where they are, that share a common interest. And for me, that day, it was just a complete game changer. And for that, I'm so thankful. I know we're going to wrap up here. First and foremost, I do want to say thank you so much to UCAN. This has been an awesome opportunity to sit down here with all of you. And also to all of these wonderful ladies for sharing their insights. I think we're all a little bit better after this, don't you?
Hi friends, by now I've made it pretty clear that the mental side of training is really important to me. Well, it's actually important to everyone, but it's important to me to show you just how much it can help you run those big goals you really, really want. Because it does. And that is why this episode came about today. I wanted to give specific advice runners could use during the race, the New York City Marathon race, and allow you to see that even people like Dina Castor can struggle at times. But you know what got her through when those negative voices were screaming? Her mind, reframing and using some of those mental tactics we're talking about today. Now, I hear you time and time again say that you want to work on your mental toughness. That's the thing that let you down. And maybe you read an article or even a book, but do you actually see any changes or take action on it? If you're honest with yourself, probably not. And no, don't worry, you're not alone. I always promise I'm going to start stretching and rolling tomorrow, but I just don't. So I hear you. But the thing is, if you have a big goal, something you really, really want, like that BQ, sub 4, or your first half marathon, you are unlikely to get there if you haven't already trained your mind into the right place. And that's why I created this 12-week mental training course to take you step by step through the tactics that you can work on in your mind to show you that you can do this. It's going to help you figure out what to say back when those negative voices are spiraling out of control. I have action sheets to help you stay accountable. I'll be checking in with you weekly to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. The course goes on sale November 15th, and for opening weekend, so the 15th through the 18th of November, there'll be a $100 sale on it, making it $197. This is for lifetime access. After Monday the 18th, it will go up to $297, and then I will close the doors till May 2020, just a few weeks later. If you feel like giving up mentally has been your weakness, this is the time to go through with a class of other runners who are also training the same hard times and doubts. And I've seen it already, how it changed the lives with the beta group who took it early. Don't miss out. Don't regret it. Sign up for the waitlist at tinamuir.com/mental training. That's TINAMUIR.com/mental training. That's one word. I will guarantee you a spot in the first class. My friends, if you have a minute and you could leave a review on your favorite podcast player, Apple Podcasts, aka iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Spotify, or whatever else podcast player you use to listen to this podcast, or if you would subscribe to this podcast, you will help me get out in front of new runners to make our tribe even bigger and even better. It might not seem like you as one person can make a difference, but really it helps a lot. And it shows me you appreciate the hard work I put in for those. Thank you so much. Thank you to Angie, Emily, and Carrie for sharing their stories with us and for allowing us to kind of get to know their heart, get to know their struggles, get to know their fears and how they overcame things. Carrie kind of ended off the main part of the podcast really well there with sometimes you just kind of have to tell yourself that you can do this and kind of just get on with it. And I think sometimes that is good advice. Although I will say sometimes obviously we need to go the other way. I've talked about this a lot. Sometimes we can all get a little bit too intense and we do need to back off. And that is kind of the opposite of what we need to do, especially during injuries. But I I think that her advice was something that I think we've all kind of been in that feel sorry for ourselves. I'm just going to sit on the couch and eat kind of mood. And I think it was great to hear her say something that maybe you need to hear right now, and maybe I do too. So thank you to Generation UCAN for hosting this event, for putting it on, for supporting me and the other ladies out there, and also to Athletic Greens, who you heard me mention in the show. There will be links to both of those in the show notes. And I hope you enjoyed that episode, getting to know the others with their marathon stories. Now, on Friday, I have a special episode for you with Jeff Warren, who is going to talk about meditation. We hear all the time about meditation, and we've had previous guests who have talked about it, but no one's actually said how you do it or just kind of given any direction, actually instructions to do it. This was a suggestion from another listener of the show, David. Thank you for your suggestion. And I brought Jeff on, and he even does a meditation practice at the end of the episode. So it's a pretty cool, unique one. So be sure to tune in to that on Friday, just a few days away. So if you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, go subscribe, because there's lots of these bonus episodes coming up and I don't want you to miss them, especially if you are a new listener. But thank you so much for listening. I'll see you Friday.
Thanks for listening to the Running for Real podcast. Be sure to check out tinamuir.com for show notes and even more helpful running information.